The Trump saga in black cities continues. It started in D.C. where he basically told Marion Bowser, I'm your daddy, and I'm going to keep on being your daddy. Took over, sent federal troops there because he can, because it's D.C. is his area. Then he threatened to do it in Chicago. He hasn't done it yet because in Chicago, he doesn't have the same power and reach that he does have in D.C. We know earlier he sent National Guard to California. So now he's sending an array of legal law enforcement groups. He's sending the National Guard. He's sending the ICE. He's sending all of these guys to Memphis, which is a black city. And the city of the mayor of Memphis says that he's against this, that this is an overreach of power. But the funny thing is that the mayor, Trump doesn't need to worry about the mayor of Memphis stopping him because the governor of Tennessee, which is the state that Memphis is in, is Republican. So the governor can override the mayor and say, oh boy, whether you like it or not, Trump is sending his troops into your city. And once again, he's doing the same playbook that all liberals do all over the country. We don't need you to send your troops here because our crime numbers have dropped. Once again, I'm black. I live in D.C. I'm black. I listen to rap music. I know people who live in Memphis. I know people who live in Detroit. I know people who live in black cities in America. All of them are fucking hellholes of crime and all kinds of other things. It's not their fault. The problem is the whole economic system in the U.S., but they're hellholes. So anyone who says that Trump doesn't need to send in troops because we've got everything under and the crime is reducing, even if the crime is reducing, Memphis has more murders a year than England does. That's all I have to say. So I'm not arguing the validity of Trump sending in these people because at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to work. Or if it does work, it'll work temporary. It'll keep people under an iron thumb. Then when they move out. But all I'm saying is that the liberals should be ashamed of themselves for playing politics rather than, if you don't want Trump to send his troops in there, make sure that the liberals, cities, and the Democratic Party in general, which is supposed to be looking out for black people, make sure that you put resources to fight the crime, that you make sure that you're doing an honest job on putting schools, putting healthcare, putting job opportunities and things in those cities, rather than just say, oh, Trump shouldn't send people in there. It's your children are starving. And you say, oh, don't send anybody in here because you're not going to help him. That's not the issue. The issue is, why aren't you helping your children? What are your thoughts, Kunle?
Yeah, I'm not going to defend either the liberals or the conservatives on this one. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm not going to defend the liberals on this one because they gained a little bit of traction on Chris Kirk's death. But at the end of the day, they've been taking money from AIPAC and they welcome Netanyahu and their Zionist entity just like the Republicans. So anything that they do, I do not believe they're gaslighting and they're disingenuous and they're full of shit. When I look at but that's on their side. And when I look at the other side, I see not even from the Democrat side. I've noticed from the right and MAGA that they're beginning to complain that all these actions in Memphis and Chicago and New York and Washington, that look, you are distracting from the Epstein files. And we want to find out what happened with Epstein. I've noticed a lot of right-wingers are getting irritated that whether these matters are good or not, they're distracting from the Epstein and they're trying to figure out what's going on.
But we want to stay on track. But here's another thing. I'm going to say that the right-wing people, why are they worried about Epstein? I'm more worried about crime in black cities. That's what our show's about. And nobody's addressing it. The Democrats aren't addressing it. Trump is addressing it by sending in troops and stuff there, but that's not addressing the root problem. The root problem is the economic system. But the focus here is on the Democrats because this is their cities. These are their cities, and they have a big role to play in the demise of black people. So they shouldn't be talking about Trump. So you can finish off on that.
What I'm saying is that what Trump is doing is basically what the conservative solution is to the rise of crime, which is to bring in soldiers and to bring in temporary peace. But the actual socialist policies that need to be brought in order to solve the problems of that in long term are not being addressed either by the Democrats or the Republicans. That's just a subject of gaslighting moved by both sides.
Yeah, I agree.
So what I see is that the Zionist entity has created some kind of fight to keep Americans distracted and at each other's throats whilst they continue to operate.
Oh yeah, because right today, we're not going to go down this road right now, Clay, but we're going to change the subject now, but back on topic. But as all of this is going on in America, Netanyahu has vamped. They've accelerated their blitz in Gaza, and people are now on the road leaving Gaza, headed to the deserts. Truckloads of people walking. So you're right. This is a distraction. This is the same distraction Nixon used to distract people in America through the drug wars and race wars when U.S. was involved in Vietnam. He created the racial tension between blacks and whites in the 70s for a distraction. So I agree with you. So that's a good point. But, for now, we're talking about Memphis. So we know Memphis has a problem. Most black cities in America have a problem. And the problem is, you're right. We have, there's a lot, you're right that they're being played against each other. So what I'm going to ask is that people from MAGA, people from the Democratic Party, people who are socialists, all need to come together and agree that every city in America should not only have law and order, but should have American money should be stopped being diverted to Israel and be pumped back into our inner cities, also into our urban areas where the racist rednecks live. As long as you're American, black or white, redneck, racist, the money should be coming to deal with issues so that we don't have to be sending troops into cities. Because once these troops come in, they may never leave, even after the crime leaves, because this could be a fascist power move. What are your last thoughts on that, Kunle? Then we'll go to Saeed.
Yeah, I mean, the two parties have created this crisis, as I believe. They created this crisis, and they're both equally responsible. They are working together. And the question as to whether it's even choreographed, I believe that it's choreographed.
I believe it's choreographed. I believe the killing of Kirk was choreographed.
I believe the entire opposition between Democrats and Republicans is choreographed.
It's choreographed. Yeah.